At 85 years old, Al Pacino has done something no one saw coming. There was no big press conference. No flashy announcement. Just a quiet message, recorded in his own voice. For decades, people watched him play powerful men, dangerous men, broken men. From The Godfather to so many unforgettable roles, he became a face that never really faded. Even as the years passed, he kept showing up, still working, still chasing something. But now, he's stepping away. And it's not just retirement. It feels different. In that final message, there was something in his voice. Something heavier. Like a man who has been carrying a lot for a long time, and is finally ready to put it down. So the question is simple. Why now? Why at 85, after everything, did Al Pacino decide to say goodbye? To understand that, you have to go all the way back. Before the fame. Before the cameras. Before anyone even knew his name. Al Pacino wasn't born into fame. He wasn't even close to it. He was born in New York City, raised in the Bronx, in a neighborhood that didn't offer much room to dream. His parents split when he was just a child, and just like that, his world got smaller. He grew up with his mother and grandparents in a tight apartment. Money was always short. The kind of place where you learn early not to ask for too much, because there's just not enough to go around. His mother loved him, no doubt about that. But life was hard for her too. She worked, struggled, tried to hold things together. And as a kid, Pacino could feel that weight, even if no one said it out loud. The streets became part of his life early on. Not in a dramatic, movie-like way. Just real life. Hanging out, watching people, learning how to read faces, tones, moods. That would stay with him later, even if he didn't realize it yet. He wasn't the best student. School didn't feel like a place for him. He didn't connect with it. He didn't see the point. And slowly, he started drifting away from it. But there was something else. Even as a kid, he had this quiet intensity. He noticed things. Small things. The way people talked. The way they moved when they were angry or scared. He didn't talk much about it, but he was always watching. At home, things weren't easy either. Space was limited. Privacy didn't exist. And emotionally, there was always something missing. That feeling of not quite belonging. Even in your own home. He would later talk about loneliness. But back then, it just felt normal. Like that's how life was supposed to be. Sometimes he would go to the movies. Sit in the dark. Watch actors on screen and feel something different. Something bigger. For a couple of hours, he wasn't just a kid from the Bronx anymore. He didn't know it yet, but those moments mattered. Because in a life that felt small and uncertain, that screen showed him another world. And deep down, without saying it out loud, something started to grow. Not confidence. Not even hope exactly. Just a quiet thought. Maybe, there's more than this. By the time Al Pacino reached his teenage years, life had already started pressing down on him in ways he didn't fully understand. He wasn't just a kid trying to figure things out anymore. There was frustration building inside him. Anger too. The kind that doesn't always have a clear reason, but it shows up anyway. School became harder to deal with. Not because he couldn't learn, but because he didn't feel like he belonged there. Teachers didn't really see him. He didn't connect with other students. It felt like he was just passing time, waiting for something else to happen. Eventually, he stopped caring enough to stay. He dropped out. For a lot of people around him, that would have been the end of the story. Another kid from the Bronx going nowhere. But for Pacino, it was just the start of a different kind of struggle. At home, things didn't get easier. His relationship with his mother was complicated. There was love there, but also tension. Life had worn her down, and that pressure found its way into their daily lives. Then came the loss that hit him hard. He lost his mother when he was still young. That moment stayed with him. It wasn't something he talked about much later on, but it shaped him. Losing the one person who had always been there left a space in him that never fully closed. After that, the loneliness got deeper, more real. He started drifting again, spending more time outside, hanging around people who were just trying to get through the day, same as him. There wasn't much direction, just movement. And then, almost by accident, acting came into his life. It didn't happen in some big, dramatic way. No spotlight. No instant success. Just small steps. Community theater. Local groups. Rooms full of people trying to express something they couldn't say anywhere else. For the first time, Pacino felt something shift. When he stepped into a role, he wasn't just himself anymore. He could take all that anger, all that confusion, and put it somewhere. Give it a voice. Give it shape. It made sense in a way nothing else had before. He wasn't the most polished actor in those early days. Far from it. But he had something real. Something raw. People noticed it, even if they couldn't fully explain it. He started training seriously, eventually joining places like the Actors Studio. That's where things began to change. Not overnight, but slowly. He was surrounded by people who took acting seriously. People who pushed him, challenged him, made him dig deeper. It wasn't easy. He struggled. Sometimes he doubted himself completely. But he kept going. Because for the first time in his life, he had something that felt like purpose. Acting wasn't just a dream. It became survival. The road after that wasn't smooth. In fact, it was the opposite. 4 years, Al Pacino faced rejection after rejection. Auditions came and went, and most of the time, they ended the same way. A polite no. Sometimes not even that. He didn't fit what studios were looking for. He wasn't the typical leading man. Not tall enough. Not traditionally handsome. Not easy to market. Those were the kinds of things people said, sometimes directly, sometimes behind closed doors. But rejection wasn't the hardest part. Survival was. There were times when he barely had money. Times when he had no stable place to live. He moved from couch to couch, staying with friends when he could. Sometimes, even that wasn't an option. He took whatever jobs he could find. Odd work, low pay, long hours. Just enough to get by for another week, another month. And still, he kept going to auditions. There's something difficult about chasing a dream when nothing is coming back. No reward. No clear progress. Just silence. That kind of pressure breaks a lot of people. It almost broke him too. There were moments when he thought about quitting. Walking away from it all and finding something stable. Something easier. But every time he got close to that decision, something pulled him back. Acting had become too important. He continued working in theater, taking small roles whenever he could. Those performances didn't bring fame, but they gave him something else. Experience. Growth. A chance to sharpen his craft. People in the theater world started noticing him more. Slowly, his name began to circulate in small circles. Not in Hollywood yet. Not even close. But enough to keep him going. He was building something, even if no one could see it yet. The struggle changed him. It made him tougher, but also more sensitive. He understood failure in a deep way. He knew what it felt like to be overlooked, ignored, dismissed. And that understanding showed in his acting. It made his performances feel real. Not polished. Not perfect. Just honest. He didn't know it at the time, but all those years of struggle were shaping the actor he would become. Because when the opportunity finally came, he was ready. Everything changed with one role. When Al Pacino was cast in The Godfather, it didn't feel like a sure thing. In fact, it almost didn't happen at all. The studio didn't believe in him. They thought he was too unknown, too quiet, too different from what they imagined for Michael Corleone. At one point, they even considered replacing him during filming. But director Francis Ford Coppola saw something in him. Something others missed. He fought to keep Pacino in the role. And that decision changed everything. When the film was released, it wasn't just successful. It became a cultural moment. People couldn't stop talking about it. And right at the center of it was Pacino. His performance was quiet, controlled, but powerful. You could see the transformation happening inside the character without him saying much. It was different from what audiences were used to. And it worked. Overnight, Pacino went from struggling actor to a name everyone recognized. But fame came fast. Too fast. One moment he was worrying about rent. The next, He was walking into rooms where everyone knew who he was. People expected things from him now. Big things. And that pressure didn't feel good. Success didn't erase his past. It didn't fix the loneliness or the doubt. If anything, it added a new layer of stress. Now he had something to lose. He kept working, taking on major roles, building a career that would last decades. But inside, things were still complicated. Because becoming famous is one thing. Learning how to live with it is something else entirely. Fame gave Al Pacino everything he once thought he wanted. Recognition, respect, money, opportunities. But it also took things away. Privacy disappeared almost overnight. The quiet life he used to live was gone. Everywhere he went, people were watching, judging, expecting something from him, even when he had nothing left to give. That kind of attention can be exhausting. At first, he tried to handle it like anyone would. Show up, do the work, keep moving forward. But the pressure started building. Every role had to be better than the last. Every performance was compared to what he had already done. Critics watched closely. Fans had expectations. And Hollywood doesn't wait. There was always someone new coming up. He started feeling isolated. Not because he was alone, but because it was hard to trust people. Fame changes relationships. Some people come closer for the wrong reasons. Others drift away. It becomes difficult to know who's real. At the same time, the emotional weight he had been carrying since childhood never really went away. It just got buried under success. But buried doesn't mean gone. It showed up in different ways. He struggled internally, even when things looked perfect from the outside. There were moments of doubt, moments when he questioned everything. His choices, his path, even his identity. Who was he without the roles? That question stayed with him. He continued delivering powerful performances, building a legacy that few actors could match. But behind the scenes, it wasn't always stable. It wasn't always clear. He had to find ways to cope. Sometimes he pulled back from the spotlight, took breaks, disappeared for a while. Not because he didn't care, but because he needed space to breathe, to feel normal again. Fame didn't break him, but it tested him. And over time, those tests started to leave their mark. Fame didn't slow things down for Al Pacino. If anything, it made life move faster. More films, bigger roles, longer days, more pressure. And somewhere in the middle of all that, the cracks started to show. He had been carrying a lot for years. Stress, doubt, old pain from his past. At some point, it began to spill over. Like many people in Hollywood at that time, he turned to alcohol. Not all at once. Not in a dramatic way at first. Just something to take the edge off. Something to quiet his mind after long days. But slowly it became more than that. Drinking gave him a kind of escape. A way to shut down the noise around him. The expectations, the attention, the constant need to perform. For a while, it felt like it helped. Like it gave him control. But it didn't. It made things heavier. Slower. Harder to manage. There were moments when he showed up to work not fully himself. Times when the focus wasn't as sharp as it used to be. People noticed, even if they didn't say it out loud. And then came the burnout. After years of pushing forward, Pacino reached a point where he couldn't keep going the same way. He felt drained. Not just physically, but emotionally. Acting had always been his escape, but now even that started to feel like pressure. So he stepped back. Not forever, but enough to create distance. He took time away from major Hollywood projects. Returned to theater. Smaller productions. Work that felt more personal, less controlled by the industry. It wasn't a step down. It was a reset. During that time, he started to look at his life more honestly. The drinking, the stress, the way he had been living. He realized something had to change if he wanted to keep going. And slowly he did. He cut back, refocused, took his work seriously again, but in a different way. Less about proving something, more about understanding it, feeling it. When he came back to film, it showed. His performances carried even more weight, more depth. There was a sense that he had lived through something, and now he was bringing that experience into his roles. Not just acting, but revealing parts of himself through the characters. People noticed the comeback. Not loud, not flashy, but strong. He didn't chase the spotlight the same way anymore. He let the work speak, and it did. Still, the damage from those years didn't fully disappear. The pressure had changed him. The habits had left their mark. He had survived it, but survival isn't the same as being untouched. He kept going, kept working, kept building a career that stretched across decades. But underneath it all, time was moving forward, and his body, his energy, they weren't the same anymore. Getting older doesn't happen all at once. For Al Pacino, it came in small changes. At first, it was subtle. A little more tired after long days on set, needing more time to recover between projects. Lines taking a bit longer to memorize. Nothing serious. Just signs that time was doing what it always does. But over the years, those small changes added up. His body slowed down. His voice softened. The energy that once carried him through intense performances started to shift. He could still act, still deliver powerful moments, but it required more from him now. More focus, more effort. There were also health concerns. Not all of them public. Pacino has always been a private person, especially when it comes to personal matters. But as he aged, it became clear that he was paying closer attention to his health. Regular checkups, more careful choices, listening to his body in a way he hadn't before. Because at a certain point, you can't ignore it anymore. Time becomes real. He started taking fewer roles. Not because he didn't love acting, but because he had to choose carefully. Projects that mattered, stories that meant something to him, work that felt worth the energy it required. He also spent more time away from the spotlight. Quiet days, time with family, moments that didn't involve cameras or scripts. For someone who had lived most of his life in front of audiences, this shift was significant, and maybe necessary. There's something that happens when you reach your 80s. You start looking back more. Not in a dramatic way, just naturally. Memories come up. Old moments. People who are no longer there. Pacino had lived a full life. A complicated one. Success, failure, struggle, recognition. It was all there. And with that comes reflection. Not everything sits easy. There were things he had lost along the way. Relationships that didn't last. Time that couldn't be taken back. Choices that felt different when looking at them from a distance. He didn't talk about it much publicly, but you could see it in his interviews. The pauses. The way he chose his words. The quiet tone that wasn't there before. He understood something now that he didn't when he was younger. Nothing lasts forever. Not fame. Not success. Not even the energy to keep going at the same pace. And slowly, that understanding started shaping his decisions. He wasn't rushing anymore. He was preparing. When the news came, it didn't feel real at first. Al Pacino wasn't just another actor stepping away. He was someone people believed would keep going forever. Even as he aged, he stayed active, kept appearing, kept working. So when word started spreading that he was saying goodbye, people were caught off guard. There was no big announcement, no media tour, just a quiet confirmation that he had decided to step away from acting. For good. Fans were confused. Why now? He hadn't completely stopped working. He still had the ability, still had the respect of the industry. There was no single moment that made it obvious. That's what made it shocking. But when you look closer, the signs were there. The slower pace, the selective roles, the distance from the spotlight. It wasn't sudden. It had been building for years. The decision itself wasn't about one reason. It was everything. Age played a part. Of course it did. At 85, the physical demands of acting, long hours, travel, intense scenes, become harder to handle. Even for someone as dedicated as Pacino. Health mattered too. Even if details stayed private, it was clear he was thinking about his well-being more than ever before. But there was something deeper. A sense of completion. He had done what he set out to do. More than that, really. He had built a career that would outlast him. Created performances that people would watch long after he was gone. There wasn't anything left to prove. And maybe, for the first time in his life, he allowed himself to accept that. Walking away isn't easy. Not from something that defined you for decades. Acting wasn't just a job for Pacino. It was who he was. But at some point, holding on becomes harder than letting go. And he chose to let go. Quietly. Without making it about headlines or attention. Just a decision, made by a man who understood his time, his limits, and his life. Still, one thing remained. Before stepping away completely, he had something to say. Before stepping away completely, Al Pacino did something simple, but powerful. He recorded a message. No stage. No audience. Just him, sitting quietly, speaking straight into the camera. His voice was softer now. Slower. But still clear. Still honest. When the video came out, people didn't know what to expect. Some thought it would be formal. Some expected something dramatic. But what they got was something else. It felt real. He started by thanking the fans. Not in a big, polished way. Just plain words. He talked about how long the journey had been. How he never imagined it would go this far. "I didn't think I'd still be here doing this," he said, with a small pause after. There was a moment where he looked down, like he was choosing his next words carefully. Not reading from anything. Just speaking from memory. From feeling. He talked about the early days. Growing up with nothing. Trying to find his place. He mentioned how acting gave him a way out. Not just from poverty, but from himself. Then he said something that stayed with people. "I wasn't always easy to work with. And I wasn't always easy to be around." It wasn't a joke. He meant it. He didn't go into details, but you could hear it in his tone. Regret, maybe. Or just honesty. A man looking back and not trying to hide from anything anymore. He thanked the directors who believed in him. The actors who stood beside him. The crews who worked behind the scenes. He didn't list names, but you could feel the respect. At one point, he mentioned The Godfather. That film, it changed my life. But it also changed me. He didn't explain what that meant. He didn't have to. Then his voice slowed even more. He talked about time. How fast it moves. How you don't notice it when you're young, but one day, it's there in front of you. "I gave my life to this work," he said. "And it gave me everything back. And took a few things too." There was a long pause after that. No music. No cuts. Just silence. Then he looked directly into the camera. "If you've watched me, if you've supported me, thank you. I mean that." His eyes looked tired, but steady. "This isn't goodbye forever. It's just me stepping away." He didn't sound sad. He didn't sound relieved either. Just calm. Like he had already made peace with the decision. At the very end, he gave a small smile. Not big. Just enough. "Take care of yourselves," he said. And then the video ended. No dramatic music. No final line. Just silence. After the message, things got quiet. No new film announcements. No public appearances. Al Pacino slowly stepped out of the spotlight, just like he said he would. For someone who had spent decades in front of cameras, it was a big shift, but not an uncomfortable one. He didn't disappear completely. There were still small moments, occasional sightings, a short interview here and there, but nothing like before. No long press tours, no late-night appearances. He chose a different pace. Most of his time now is quiet, away from the noise, away from the constant attention. He spends time at home, surrounded by things that feel familiar, things that don't ask anything from him. Family became more important, not in a public way, not something he talks about openly, but people close to him say he values those moments more now than ever before. Simple conversations, being present, time that isn't rushed. There's also reflection, not the kind where someone sits and tries to explain their whole life. Just natural moments where memories come back, scenes from the past, faces, places, choices. He's lived a long life, and not all of it was easy. There were highs that most people only dream about, but there were also quiet struggles that never made headlines. Loss, pressure, all of it part of the same story. Now, there's space to sit with that. He still watches films sometimes. Not always his own, but occasionally something comes on, and there he is. A younger version of himself. Different energy, different voice. It doesn't seem to bother him. If anything, it reminds him of how far things went. People still talk about him, still watch his work. New generations discover his performances every year. That hasn't changed. What has changed is his place in it. He's no longer in the race, no longer trying to prove anything. That part is over. And maybe that's the point. There comes a time when continuing isn't the goal anymore. Understanding is. Accepting what was. Letting go of what isn't needed. Holding on to what matters. For Al Pacino, that time is now. He didn't leave with noise. He didn't try to make it bigger than it needed to be. He just stepped back. Quietly. Like someone who finally reached the end of a long road and decided to rest. So what do you think about Al Pacino's decision to step away at 85? Did his final message surprise you, or did you see this coming? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story meant something to you, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more real stories behind the lives of the biggest stars. We don't just talk about fame, we talk about what it costs. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.